Hi everybody, welcome back. Some of you should remember this. This is a 1995 Jeep Wrangler 4-liter straight 6 with a manual transmission. It was here earlier. I already made a video on it. The thing barely ran and wouldn't get out of its own way. It was stalling, backfiring, hard starting. Folks had loaded the parts cannon, and it came to me in desperate need of some TLC. It sat for a very, very long time. I think like 4 or 5 years the thing sat around. The owner's been piecing it back together, but we couldn't get it quite right. I ended up finding that the distributor was either loose inside or there was something wrong with the pickup module. I did employ the triagnostic method, and I just tossed one in there and reset timing, and the thing was good to go. So it's running like a top. If you missed that video, just check down below in this video's description. It will take you back in time to the part 1. That being said, we are moving on. We have to do something about this this failed cooling fan right here, and something's going on with the relay. I think I heard it keep blowing fuses, probably because that fan is hitting the water pump, which is also leaking. So what we're going to do today is pop this fan out of here. I have a replacement fan around here somewhere. I've got a new temperature probe module that's supposed to actuate the fan. That's on the way. They didn't have that in stock. So we're going to pull this fan out, we're going to drain the coolant, and I'm also going to put a new water pump on this because this pump happens to be leaking coolant everywhere. And you can see down below, we got coolant spilled all over the floor. So we're going to go ahead and get started on that. My first order of business is going to be to get this fan out of the way because it's flippy-flopping, it's hitting the water pump pulley. It seems to be mounted with some bolts on this little plate right here, which I'm assuming is designed to just channel the air into the fan. I'm going to go ahead and pull this entire assembly out as one unit, and then we'll try to disassemble the fan. I'll see if my new one fits. However, I don't really want to use the new one because I want to put the new fan, I'm sorry. I don't want to use the old one or this. I want to put the new fan on the front side of this radiator and have it be a pusher fan rather than a puller fan, simply because of the lack of clearance right here. So we're looking at 4 bolts that hold this little panel in. I'm going to go ahead and extract those right now, and we'll get this thing removed. Now, if I find out that my new fan has a lower profile than this fan, then I will put it back together as a puller configuration, but it's all going to have to well, it's all going to depend on how much clearance I end up with. That's not coming out. Oh, I can already see why that doesn't fit. Because somebody used this type of bolt on a fitting that requires a fine thread, not this wood screw looking business. Alright, let's move around to this side. We've got 2 more bolts over here. Let's see, that can stay. I'll probably end up just cutting these wires off. Actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and cut that off right now. We don't need that anymore. And 2 more bolts. This little fan guy right here. Okay, now the fan and bracket are disconnected. Let's go ahead and extract those. Hope I can do this without pulling the hose off. Upper hose, yep, sure can. Alright, fan's out. Oh yeah, this thing's locked up solid. Check this out. It doesn't even turn. Look at that. Locked up solid. And that is due to those bolts hitting the shaft right here, and they've deformed everything. That's what's going on. So yeah, this fan is kaputt. Das ist nicht gut. Das ist scheiße. Oh, there we go. It's freed up now. Look at that. I fixed it. All right, job's over. See you guys later. Hello, wife unit. Embarrassed?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm camera shy.
All right, all right. Here, let's unbox our new unit. It's a Hayden manufactured fan. I believe that's the brand name. I've used these before, once upon a time. It does not look like it's very low profile. Let's see here. Yeah, that looks, that's fairly largish. Oh, I dropped some goodies. Might need those later. That's the mounting kit. Come here. This is a 16-inch fan. That should be sufficient for what we need. Okay, this is the same diameter as the unit that's coming out. I'm wondering if I can mount this to that plate and then still install that on the front. It's is it possible? Yeah, I don't think so. No, that's not gonna work. Okay, well, I'm just gonna loosen this radiator, lean it back some, and then we're just gonna use the mount that came with that fan to install that unit on the front side of this radiator, and that should solve the issue. Okay, so since we've decided on a pusher configuration, let's go ahead and take this radiator loose. Loud noises. And another one down here. I'm not going to take those out all the way because I don't want this thing to fall down. There's a couple more on the other side. Alright, so I'm not really having the easiest time here getting some workable space in the front of this, and since it's almost all the way out, I'm just going to go ahead and pull this radiator out all the way, and then I can fit that fan on the bench. That way I reduce risk of damage to the unit, and it'll give me more workable space to perform a cleaner installation. So I already got the upper hose off right here. The thing is draining right now. I'm gonna go ahead and take this lower hose loose and remove that, and then we'll just we'll put the fan on over there on the bench. Plus, that'll give me more space to work on this water pump, so it's kind of a win-win, I think. That's how that's gonna work. There we go. Yeah, sometimes shortcuts work, and sometimes they're more trouble than they're worth, and this shortcut is gonna be more trouble than it's worth. So we're just gonna skip that. Oh, there we go. It got me. Okay, we're over here. Here's our front side of our radiator. Fan unit is right here, right about the center. I'm pointing the wires down. That way, if this thing ever gets wet, the water can't wick its way into the motor. That's very important. We don't want this thing to get fouled out with water. So the install on this is very simple, actually. We've got these 4 little pads right here. They're adhesive backed. I don't know what they're really supposed to stick to, but they are. And we've got these little pass-through zip tie looking things, and these little springs right here for shock absorption. So what we're gonna do, I think they go this way. Set it up like so. These are gonna pass through the holes in the unit. They're gonna pass through the radiator, and then we will clip it on the other side with these little clips right here. So it's not gonna go anywhere when I'm done with it. Put that through right there. And then we'll feed this between the fins. No, it will not damage anything. As long as you don't mess up these little cores right here and poke a hole in them, you're good to go. There's one. Let's get the front mount pushed through. All right, there's the mark. You've got to have these little plastic rubber insulators in there, otherwise the fan will rub through and it'll rub a hole through the cores, in which case it will leak and then ruin your radiator, and that would be bad. Let's rotate our trash can workbench a little bit, and we'll set up mount number 3. Peel this guy off, up and out, poke the hole, and then feed it back through its little mark. There we go. Now, before I finalize this with the other ends of these little zip tie looking guys, I'm gonna go ahead and fit this back into the Jeep and just make sure that there's clearance for everything. There we go. Run these down all the way so they're not flippy flopping in our way. That one's in, that one's in. Okay, to the Jeep we go. All right, let's test fit this thing. See if this is gonna work. This fan's a little larger than the original, but it's also going on the front side here. Yeah, so far so good, I think. Let's put a couple bolts in this. just to make sure and hold the weight. Come on, you red. Oh, it's getting heavy. There. Okay, there's one, got one bolt in. It's at least gonna hold the weight for me. Another. Okay. Woo, I think we got it. And if I push this flat, like it's mounted, we're looking good. Yes, it clears everything. You guys can't really see in there, it's kind of dark, but yeah, all right, that's gonna work. So I'm gonna I'm gonna grab those little clips and secure this the rest of the way. Then we'll pull this radiator back out and I'll go ahead and attack that water pump. There they are. So all we need to do is slide these over. They click into place just like a zip tie. Give it a little tug. That'll compress that spring just a wee bit and keep it from vibrating. There we go. And these are now permanent. I can't relocate this fan unless I cut these little guys, which I don't want to do, because then I have to get new ones, and I don't have new ones. Fix a little bit tighter. There we go. All right, fan is in. We're good. We'll trim off this excess using flush cuts. That way there's no sharp pointy edges for people to get cut on. Kind of like a zip tie. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull this back out temporarily. That way we can get to that water pump. Which we could probably do it right here, but it'll be easier with this radiator removed, so why not? I'm glad this thing fit. It's a pretty tight squeeze in there. But it fits, and that's what matters. Coming out. Raw. Okie dokes. Next up, let's go ahead and get this power steering pump a little bit loose. That way our belt slacks off. Odd noises. There's no tensioner on this. Where's that other bolt? I think there's another one in the back. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, there's no tensioner on this, so you just adjust the power steering pump to tension the belt. I think these bolts are a little stripped. They've, I don't like that very much at all. Yeah, it's another Jeep thing. Stripped bolts everywhere. For everyone. Why aren't you slacking off yet? Everybody's loose. What's the deal here? Loosen the adjuster. Let's tap it. Let's see if it moves. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's better. Let's get that out of here. Let's see about these pulley bolts right here. Ring. I failed. I should have done that before I took the belt off. Not to worry, I have some impacting kicks. Yeah, just like that. Is this rusted on too? Maybe? No, it's not that bad. Or is it? Come off. Pry bar. I will break you if you don't come off. Don't feel like fighting. It's getting late. Past my fighting time. There's a bunch of rust right here on the shaft. That's what's holding me up. See right there? Come out. Seriously? I can't sand off some of that rust right there. Lube. Come off of there. What is this? We'll pry it from 2 angles. Man, that's on there. Look at that. I'm gonna ruin the pulley. And that would also upset me. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. It's moving, it's coming off a little bit. Corrosion. Got it. I guess I can go ahead and pull this lower radiator hose off while I'm here. Probably gonna spill some more coolant. The irony, this song does not escape me. Old worn out Jeep. Let's go ahead and pull this idler pulley off while we're here, because the bypass tube on the water pump is behind it, and I need that washer gravity. I got it, it's recovered. Alright, let's start losing some of these fasteners here. The water pump is sandwiched behind the power steering pump, so I need to kind of take most of this loose and then swing it aside, then I can get that water pump off. Where are we at? Right over here. Take that one loose, take this one out, that one out, slide that bracket aside if I can, which I can't. What else is that bolted onto? Take that out all the way. And there's might be one more bolt holding this to the manifold. Where is it? Oh, I found it. It's way back here, so I need to pull this entire pump off the bracket. We'll take that out completely. That's not a factory bolt. It's Home Depot special. Come out. Please. It helps if you say please, and if that doesn't work, threaten it. Still trying to get the there's an adjuster down here that's got to go. If that's out, this thing will be free. Please come out. Alright, that's what I need. It moved enough. Now I can get to that one little bolt way back there, and that's holding this bracket to this intake manifold. There, a little more light on the subject. We can see little guy's buried back there. Pump gravity incoming. Don't fall. Fetch that bolt. Got it. And we'll just lay this thing aside. There we go. Now we got nice clear access to our water pump. Thought I told you to stay. I mean it. Stay there. Okay, let's start pulling this pump out. A series of 13 mil bolts. Oops. Yeah, these have been in here for quite some time. There's one down here at the bottom you can't see. I can't see it, but I can feel it. Get that guy out. And got one more right here. Oh, you better not be stripped. Okay. Whoa. It scared me. There she is. And our pump is free. Mostly. Okay, welding pliers coming in. We'll unclamp this heater hose right here that comes out of this water pump bypass. Wiggle this guy off. Look at that, hose is torn. Right here at the tip. See it right there? Alright, there's our old junky pump. Look at that gasket. It's not good. Nasty. Okay. No worries. I'm glad to see that the block surface isn't pitted or damaged or anything like that. It happens on these Jeeps. Okay. Okey dokes. The compressor's fired up. Clean out some of this debris. Get all that out of here. And we're going to go in and polish up the surface, get rid of the gasket material, and then prep for the new pump to come in. Alright, I think we're good here. I do see a slight amount of pitting in here. It's not too terrible. I don't even know if you guys can make it out. There is a little bit of pitting in this surface, but I don't think that's going to pose us a problem in the future. I think the gasket material is enough to take up for what's going on right there. That's okay. Okay, let's get this thing cleaned up and oil free. We don't want any residue on there. It's not a huge deal, but it couldn't hurt to make it nice and shiny. Need a pressure washer. Okie doke, so I've got the this little bypass tube for the heater core removed. I stripped off all the sealant that was on the threads, and I wire brushed it. Actually, I rotary wire brushed it to get rid of all the rust and whatnot. I'm gonna go ahead and hit this with a coat of spray paint, set this up for the night, and I'm gonna come back at this one tomorrow morning. Alrighty, it is a couple days later. The weekend has passed. I'm trying to figure out where I left off. Oh, that's right. The bypass tube on the water pump. That's where we left off. I painted it before I left. It was kind of rusty. I sanded the thing down with a little Ziz wheel on my die grinder here. Gave it some paint so it's shiny. And I need to go ahead and get this thing installed on the new pump. Surface is prepped, so let's go ahead and get that new pump bolted back in. We're getting somewhere now. Got our pump. I've got the bypass tube set up, sealed, connected, screwed in. Let's do a test fit real quick on this bad boy. Perfect. Clearance is good on this side. Let's go ahead and get this thing gasketed and bolted in. So what I'm going to do here, got the gasket in place. Just go ahead and slip 2 of the bolts in. Hold that on. I don't need to load this up with silicone or anything like that. We don't need the sealant because the gasket is the sealant. And we'll go ahead and fit that thing on. Get it into position. And we'll start the threads, finish it off with the other 2 bolts. Get on there. Alright, there's one. Second bolt in. Pull it back some, take a look. The gasket looks good. And we'll get the other bolts together. There's only 4 that seal it. And number 4 goes right here. Nice. Let's go ahead and run these bolts down. Come here. There we go. Alrighty, let's set some torque on this. Now, these are at an interesting torque spec because they're at the very, very top of the range of my 1/4" drives, and they're at the very bottom of the range of my 3/8 drives regarding my clicky wrenches. So I'm gonna pull out the digital one. We're gonna do this at 300 inch-pounds, which is slightly high. It's supposed to be 270, but there was a bit of a sealant and some corrosion on these bolts, and I don't want to under torque them because of friction. Oh, where are we at? 266. And right there, 300. Good to go. Next. The radio keeps crapping out. What is this? Okay, did a reset. Begin torquage now. $123, $180, $190, $200, $228. Hit you guys with the torque wrench. Oh, $290, $300. There we go. Reset. Again. Hello, wife unit.
Hey.
What's up, babe? 300. Reset. Lexi?
Lexi.
Yeah. Guys, what do you think? Is it Lexi or Lexus is? I like to say Lexi.
That's not a European.
307. No, that's Japanese. That's Toyota.
Okay.
She's learning. We're having a learning day. Say hi.
Hi.
You're embarrassed. All right. Anyway, that thing's torqued. All 4 bolts. Let's go ahead and get that power steering bracket nonsense set back up, and then we'll do the hoses and the pulleys and the belts and everything else. All right, let's scooch over to the other side real quick. We're gonna go ahead and get this hose fitted. I think I've got enough here where I can just cut this frayed end off a little bit and get it plugged in right about there. So I don't need to get a new hose just yet. Like I've said before, we're kind of budget minded with this, so I don't want to rack up with extra parts if we don't have to. I know I mentioned something earlier about replacing this hose, but we're trying to keep the budget in mind here. So we're gonna cut corners where we can get away with it. Chop this guy off. Hose click. That slipped on right there. Beautiful. And welding pliers for the win. Right about there. There's plenty of slack. That's good. Okay, our time is short-lived on this side of the engine. Let's go back over here and get this power steering bracket reinstalled. All right, here's our little sneaky bolt that was in the back that I couldn't find earlier. We'll get started with that one. Maybe. Thread, get in there. There we go, that one's in, kinda. A couple more turns on it real quick. There. We'll run this down so it's almost snug. Slippage. Yeah, it's a little too tight so it doesn't move now. There we go. Finish that off later. That one goes up there, that one went there. We'll do this one last. There we go. Ding. Jeep is almost done. Okay, 2 more 15s down here. It's funny how the water pump is also the bracket for the power steering, or part of the bracket. It's the bracket for the power steering bracket. There we go. That's what it is. Let's see. What's that 13 that, no, that one went up here, didn't it? No. Ah, forgot. Here, this one can go here. I recall some of these bolts were not, what's the word? They didn't go here, and I don't think that the threads were pitched properly, and I think it did strip some of the aluminum out. Yeah, look at that. There's some right there. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to remedy that situation later. All right, this is now located. Let's go ahead and snug these up. Squeaky clicks. There we go. All right, bracket is now secure. Too far. Okay, that was not the bolt that went there. The threads are right, but the bolt is not. Here, I found a little shorty. Let's try that one. That should be sufficient for this bracket on a bracket. Yeah, that's the one. There we go. We're getting somewhere. Okay, I figured out where I went wrong with this bolt. It goes in to the pump from the back side of the bracket. That's where it went. And if it didn't, it's going there now. Please line up. What are we doing? There it is. I'm gonna run this one down almost all the way by hand. There we go. Seeing as how we found some of the aluminum threads from this bolt that came out of that bracket, that means that this is stripped. So what I'm gonna do is run a longer bolt through there, and I will just put a nut on the other side, and that will secure it properly. It works. I mean, there's still some thread in there, but it's not gonna be sufficient for what we're doing. Yeah, see, does not torque down. And there's sparklies in there already. So, it's gonna work? No, it's not. Uh-oh. I need to lose this little washer thing on here. It's too big, I think. Or grind it down. Be right back. Okay, I've got the compressor fired up so I can run the die grinder. While that thing's building pressure, let's go ahead and get the water pump pulley on. Oh, look, it just goes right on. That was much easier than the removal process. 4 bolts. Number 3. These all have a flat washer and a lock washer. That way they can't back off. Hit that with a couple impacts real quick like, and that'll be secure. Click. Good to go. Okay, I've got some air pressure built, so let's hit this with a die grinder and cut away this little built-in washer right here, and then we can get that bolt right there tightened up. We'll do this in high speed. There we go, nice and shiny. That little washer is gone now. So now this bolt nut should fit. Should. And I'm gonna put this in backwards because if I use this face, it's not an even surface because I was just grinding on it. So we'll thread that in the reverse. Or pointed the other way, I should say. Words! It's early. Coffee has not kicked in just yet. I think I got it. Really? Try again. Welding pliers. There we go. Okay. Oh, that was stupid. I didn't tension the belt yet. What am I thinking, right? Told you guys it was early. There. Let's hang the belt next. All right, belt coming back in. Over, under, around, and through. Tying your shoes. I think that's the way it went. Right? Wrong? Maybe? Indifferent? Sure. We need more slack. Push that in. How about now? Does it fit? Sure does. Let's get our idler pulley on. As soon as this thing's clicked, we can go ahead and tension the belt. Then comes our next challenge of the radiator. Kickage. There we go. That's tight. Let's go ahead and tighten up the belt and the pump and then lock it down. We're good to go. Now this is not what I remember. That's fine, we'll get in there. We'll go in sideways. I don't know. See it pulling the pump back out? That feels pretty good. All right, okay, we're good and tight on our belt. Let's go ahead and snug up all the rest of these bolts that secure the pump to its bracket. Starting with this one out back. Kicks. Look at this one up here next. That's a 14. I can't seem to get that right. Try again. 5th time's a charm, right? See that nut's spinning. Let me hold that. Friction should take care of it. Clicks. All right, that's in, and then there's, I think, 2 more on the other side. Get on there. It's all standard size. That's my deal. Yeah, that's not a 14 either. It's not a 15, not a 14. Okay, last one is down below. It's the adjuster. There's a nut on it, and I just need to secure that nut, and we are locked down. That slipped. And click. Beautiful. All right, this section is done. Let's see what we can do about getting our radiator and that new fan fitted. We've got it secured as a pusher configuration to the front of the radiator. It's bolted on, well, secured. All right, big radiator coming in. Don't scratch it. Go. You're gonna fit. I know you fit. Don't you fight me. All right. Let's get a couple bolts in there to secure this bad boy. We'll hang it with, whoa, one right here. Wrong way. Fail. There's one. Let's get the other side hung a little bit. I think it'll come out right. There we go. Good. Down below. Let's see, I want that one. Okay. Go. Good. Good. All right, let's recheck clearances on this side. Make sure the fan is still good. Because we don't want this hitting anything. Let's see. Looks like that's clear, this is clear. We'll run the wire up and over and then to a new controller. Very good. Okay, we have the radiator secured. I did already go ahead and put the lower hose on. I've got the upper hose on. Those are clamped in tight with some new clamps. We've got the power steering reservoir bolted back in. I chased the threads on those little inserts right there because remember we had this this like wood screw looking thing bolting this on. That wasn't very secure, so I put in the proper pitched threads or proper pitched bolts and resecured that. I do need to run a new temperature relay that will actuate that fan. I don't want it to run all the time. I may wire it on a switch so it can be run manually, but I've also got a thermometer or a thermostat device that probes the radiator and it's designed to kick that fan on and off as temperature increases or decreases. I'm going to install that next. Okay, first thing I want to do here is finish removing this old unit. We don't need it, it's fried, it doesn't work, and we have a new one. Well, I mean, I can use some of it, like this power wire right here. It's still a good wire. I don't know why this ground wire is grounded to the fuse box. I'm probably gonna move that. I don't think I really care for that. We'll see. All right, let's get rid of this thing and bust out our new unit. Yeah, I don't even know how that first one turned on and off. I mean, it must have ran all the time. I don't believe it was wired properly. Anyway, we've got a new relay here. It's fused twice, power going in, and I think the other fuse is the power going to the fan. So we wire that up appropriately. Ooh, it may even have a wire built in for a switch. That's good. And we have a temp probe somewhere. That's this guy right here. I want to go ahead and start by getting this probe installed. We want to have it fairly close to the inlet area. That way it measures actual coolant temperature as it leaves the engine. So I'm going to put that through the radiator assembly right around, right here in this corner. I think is going to be best. And the other side has this little retainer clip. We'll just feed that over and slide that on. Please go on. Two-handed. Get on there. Ooh. All right, good to go. That's on. I do have some extra rubber pads, and I'm going to stick this one in on the other side over here, just to prevent that little clip from scoring the fins on the radiator. Here, let's take a look. We've got the clip, we've got the pad. We have no light. There you go. Clip and pad, and same thing on the other side. We've got a pad. Okay. Using the diagram and in an attempt to get this wired, we're going to start with what we know. So we've got this brown, which they call this a snap switch. So that's going to go and get plugged into one side of that. It's going to do these one wire at a time until I figure out how everything works. The green that goes with it, or it's part of the same circuit, I believe this one runs to the AC switch. So there's no compressor here on this thing. It's not equipped with air conditioning, so I don't think we have an AC switch to worry about, so this might be a dead lead. I think what I'm going to do is just temporarily wire this thing up, and then I'll go ahead, or just to test it to make sure it functions, and then I'll go ahead and redo these connections later. So red goes to our battery power. That's power to the relay, 12-volt battery direct. Yes, that one's connected. The black wire coming out of the relay is going to go straight to ground, so let's go ahead and just ground this wire. So that gives us our relay's power supply and our relay ground. Then we just have to hook up the control circuits. And again, looking at the diagram, the other side of our snap switch over here goes to ignition power. So I'm going to see if I can't find a 12-volt ignition source out here. We'll probably do that last. Okay, I've got the fan wires here. These are going straight to the fan motor. We've got a black for our ground, which I'll probably ground that to the chassis somewhere. And our yellow is our power supply. So temporarily, just to make sure, ow, I poked my finger. Here, we'll do it like this. One thing I did forget to, well, I almost forgot, is I actually have to wire this backwards because we're setting this up as a pusher. So the yellow is actually going to be our ground, and the black wire is going to be our hot, our positive. So let's just go ahead and we'll temporarily ground that right there, or maybe right here. There we go. And then let's take, got a jumper lead to power. Let's see if this thing even runs. Not grounded there, it doesn't. Oh, hang on. There we go. And we have flow. Okay. Set that back down for now. It looks like this chart is able to run 2 fan motors, but we don't need to run 2. So we're just going to use our long leaded orange wire that comes out of the relay. And this one, along with the blue one, is labeled as output. So let's just go ahead and make this connection to power right now. Again, I'm gonna redo these after I test wire all this just to make sure everything works like it's supposed to. And I'm not gonna use these types of butt connectors either, so I'll cut these off later. So that's wired, good. And we're still grounded with that jumper lead. We're going to substitute ignition power with another jumper straight to the battery. Again, testing purposes. I've used the AC switch wire. I may decide to hook this one up to a fuse, or I'm sorry, up to a switch in the cabin. But if I were to power this wire, it should click the relay on and then actuate the fans. Let's try it out. Okay, relay hit, and our fan is fanning. So far, so good. Fan powering down. Okay, let's mount the relay and then route these wires properly, and then we'll do a good heat shrunken watertight connection on all the wires. In the interest of keeping this pretty, I'm gonna mount the relay, and now you can see, I'm gonna mount that right here to the radiator itself. Yes, it's kind of hot. It's no hotter here than it is over here on the fender well, so this is gonna work out just fine. Plus it'll make for a nice clean install. Move that one more time. Relay clicks. Oh, that was a pun. Get it? I went ahead and shortened up this wire. I just kind of wrapped it around itself. And yeah, I could have cut it, but I don't need to rewire this thing completely. So what I'm gonna do is just run this pack of wire inside of a loom. We'll zip tie it off and then plug this one in. Okay, let's trim off the excess. A couple snips. Just like so, and then I can plug this guy back in. Right there. That looks good. Another zip tie here, that'll seal the deal. I'm not gonna use tape, it'll just come off. And one at the bottom. Get on there. That'll contain all that wire that's bunched up so it doesn't poke its way out through the slot in this wire loom. There we go. I'm going to take a zip tie or two and use it to secure these 2 fuses together, just so they're 1 unit instead of 2 that are flopping around. I don't know if this is going to work. It might. Okay, looking to the right a little bit. We do need to find a place to mount the fan motor ground, and I think I've got, yeah, that's a good ground right there. So we can put an eyelet on the end of that wire and then ground it right here. Let's pull this out. See if this eyelet fits. Yes, it does. That's good. We'll go ahead and connect this to our yellow wire here and then ground the unit. I know it's kind of a mess right now, but it's gonna clean up. Fear not. I'm doing this as if it were mine. And I did strip the insulation off that eyelet because I am going to install more heat shrink. It's just a cleaner, better looking connection. Click. Come here, one more. You. All right, good. Fire. Yeah, I could use a heat gun, but I choose fire. It's okay. There we go. Let's run this up. Ooh, a little warm. Brown click. Let's shorten up our power supply wire next, which is this orange one. I could have used the blue one. They're both the same circuit, but the orange one was the one I chose earlier, so I'm just going to use that one. This is probably going to end up here, so I'll make this fairly short. We'll do it like right about here. Give her a twist. I'm not going to use the solder embedded connectors. I've got some of those, but I don't want to use them on this because this is a high current circuit, and I fear that if it gets too hot, it could potentially remelt the solder. So I'm just going to crimp them and then heat shrink them. I hope you find that sufficient. Right about right there. Nice. Give that a squeeze. Connection made. Shrink our heat shrink. The reason I put that small piece of heat shrink on the black wire is to make the diameter a little bit thicker in case this heat shrink tube does not shrink down enough to actually make a good seal. When that happens, I just like to take it and kind of pinch it while it's hot. That'll do. So as for this dangly fuse bit, I think what I'll do is just zip tie that right to the relay pack. I think that'll work. Yeah, like right here. Yep, that's gonna work out just fine. Gives us good visual access to the fuses for the future in case the fan stops running. Yeah, you'd have to cut the zip tie again to change them out, but it's better than just having this thing dangling around all fippy-floppy. I neglected to ground the little black relay ground, so I'm just gonna follow the fan motor ground right over, and I'll ground it in the same spot. So we'll put that right here. I'll use that same bolt to sandwich it in there as well. These are too small. These are super small. Here's one, that's a little bigger. Does it fit? Sure does. Okay. Cut that down. Don't need the whole piece. See how I folded that to give it a little bit more meat? So when I clamp this, it won't be able to pull out as easily. Crimp complete. And a little bit of heat. There we go. One more time. What are you doing? Not going in straight, that's what it's doing. You! What have I done here? Wow! Alright, we're kind of nearing the home stretch here. I've got all this stuff buttoned up. I do need to find an ignition on only power supply to power the other side of this switch so it can trip the relay when the temperature reaches the appropriate level. Now I have been probing around for a while and I located, not that one, I don't even know what that one's for, but I located this relay connector and it was kind of shoved back behind here. And I have found that this white wire is powered with ignition on. So I'm assuming this is designed to complete some kind of circuit when a relay is installed. I don't know what it's for, but it's not connected to anything. It could be lights. It's really tough to say. But I've decided I'm going to go ahead and pull my ignition power from this this white wire right here. Now, like I said, it's not carrying a huge load. All it has to do is supply some power to this little switch right here. And then when that switch reaches the appropriate temperature, it's going to close, which is going to kick on this relay. Okay, our power supply wire is connected to that empty connector with a little spade. It runs in, I've got it zip tied to the wiring harness, crosses over, it meets up with the rest of the wires that power the relay pack. It's connected to the switch. So I think all that's left is to start the engine and see how this thing's going to perform. Oh, let's see if the fan pulls. Check this out, watch this. Alright. Cool, fan is functioning. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and start this engine. We're going to refill the coolant. I've already got about 1.5 gallons in there, but it's going to need some more. Let's fire it up, make sure it starts easily on its first attempt. We'll let it come up to operating temp, and then we're going to wait for it to heat up and see if that fan comes on all on its own. Because that's what's really going to matter right here. So, starting, hang on, whoa, neutral. I doubt the neutral safety switch on this thing works. Okay, starting the engine. Nice, lives. Let's get a little bit of pouring things action going on here. Refill this radiator. Long range. Sweet. Checking it for leaks. I don't see anything dripping down there. This is good. All right, let's just stand by for a little while, wait for this thing to come up to temp. At which point we should see the fan kick on. Here, let's speed it up a little bit. It's running much better. Yeah. So while this is warming up, I think I'll take this opportunity to get rid of some of this power steering fluid that's it kind of leaked out on the reservoir. Booyah! Yeah, I bet you didn't think that was gonna happen, did you? Just a little bit of nice and shiny. Details that matter. Okay, let's check our temp. The gauge says we're right at 210 where we're supposed to be. We should start to see this fan come on any second now. Now here's what we're gonna do. I'll just go ahead and get this out of the way, and we'll let it suck up the piece of paper. And you know it's on. Okay, we're seeing 190 at the coolant temp sensor. What we got here? We're looking at right here at the coolant temp sensor. We're 188, 190. You guys see that? 207 upper hose is 194. Hey, there it is. All right, we have a fan. Sweet, fan's running. Let's go check our gauge. Where'd we land at? What? That says it's like 225. I don't know about all that. Let's actually measure it. 195, and at the temp sensor, what do we got? 179, that's a little low. 204. All right, so that gauge is a little off. Probably resistance or something in the wire. Let's check the lower hose. 148, 150. Get down a little closer just to make sure. And yeah, it's saying 145. Okay. So we are cooling like we are supposed to be. 180 at the radiator. 182. All right, it's doing its job. All right, now let's let it hang out and make sure it stays cool. And then we'll go out for a test drive and make sure that it's actually going to run under load. Because I have not been out on a test drive since we replaced that distributor. Oh, that's pretty cool. So, so the wife unit, she was in the office and she made some new merchandise, a couple stickers and some T-shirts. There's a nice and shiny sticker and a wife unit shirt. Those are. What else? What else did you make?
Wife unit, nice and shiny.
Who's the wife unit? Yeah.
All the wives are wife units.
So anyway, it has not even been posted onto the YouTube banner yet. You know, the one that shows up below the video. And she said some folks already went and bought some nice and shiny stickers, which that is awesome. Good job, babe. Good job.
Thanks.
Tell you what, I'm gonna retire off the wife unit. She's gonna sell like T-shirts for days. Especially. Okay, what other one did you do? Let's go see. But seriously, here's the deal. If everybody here just goes and buys a sticker, I can retire tomorrow.
Let's go. So wobbly bits.
Wobbly bits, wife unit, nice and shiny.
Yeah.
Nice. I like them. What do you guys think? I like wife unit the best.
I love it.
All right, I got a Jeep that might overheat. I gotta go check on that. Bye. Oh look, and the fan shut down on its own. Oh, it's great that we caught that. Sweet, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Let's check the temp again. Okay, it came down to 210, so that's about right. Okay. Well, I like it. Very pleased with this one. All right, let me pack up my goodies and get the truck out of the way, and we're gonna go out for a test drive real quick, like. Backing out is the Jeep. I'm still not done yet though. We do need to get this up in the air. Am I in gear? Nope. We do need to get this up in the air. There, that's reverse. And look for that clanky, rattly noise down below. We are gonna do an oil change on this later, and I do need to do just a general undercarriage inspection. We held off on all that work until we could actually get some traction on this thing's running condition and overheating issues. And now that that stuff is solved, we're free to proceed with additional repairs. But I'm glad this thing is gonna live on. There's not many of these old Jeeps left. Ring, ring. There we go. It's light throttle. Full throttle right here. Nice. Yes, it lives. Alright guys, I'm gonna run for about a mile or so down the road. Just make sure this thing stays cool, and that's gonna about finish this one up. As always, I'd like to thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, just let me know about that by tapping that like button down below. So again, and as always, thank you for watching, and most importantly, don't forget to have yourselves a great day. See you guys later. End of transmission.